Oh my god, did I actually do this first try? There's no fucking way this works properly. It worked properly first try, folks. What is going... Oh, you know what? You know what? It's fucked. It is fucked. Okay, let's do this then. Hi everybody, this is Game Crimes. I'm June, I'm alone, and things are breaking, so... Normal day. Normal day, normal time. So Mike is out a bit, and we're going to be doing some Magic the Gathering stuff tonight, since we had some requests from other folks. There we go. That's a weird thing to be happening. Hey, there we are. There we are. Okay, thank you for coming out tonight, folks. We would love to see it. Hi, Starman. Nice to see you over there. I'm gonna be hopping between like 5 different screens. So I'll send the tweet out. We'll wait a few mins. We'll see who shows up, and then we will get into some dirty, dirty drafting. In the meantime, since I'm flying solo tonight, I mean, I guess it's Ask Me Anything. I'll answer whatever questions you have. Otherwise, you're going to hear me talk about Magic card strategy for a long time, and I get it. Nice to see you, Josh. Well, that's a shit. Why did I do that? Hey, there we go. I sent out the tweet. We're tweeting. We got people in the chat there. Nice to see you. So we had some requests for Magic the Gathering stuff, and I love playing Magic the Gathering. It's something that I do quite frequently, and have been since I was like 11 or something. I was pretty young. Starman asks, is this the most recent MTG game? Yes, it is. This is the live platform for playing Magic. You can do tournament and pro level stuff here if you're good enough. But I've been playing this game forever. I really like this game, specifically limited drafting, which we did a little bit of with Mike back in the day. We did a one of the base sets. I don't remember which one. But we have a treat because there's a special draft format that is not available very frequently, either on the MTG client or even just in real life, unless you know a guy. And that is called Cube. And a cube is... Let's rewind. A draft is a type of a format in Magic where you construct a deck out of cards that you really haven't seen before you sit down to play. And you're going to be picking them out of a lineup of cards, passing them around the table like a football draft or something. I'd say go Lions, but we got our necks broken. So any Magic set can be played in draft format. As long as it comes out in a pack, you can draft it. I've drafted most sets. The ones that I weren't there live for, I was absolutely playing online. My favorite draft format of all time is Rise of the Eldrazi, Triple Rise of the Eldrazi. I also like Time Spiral. Mirage Block is super fun. Tempest Block is super fun. Invasion Block is super fun. Triple Champions of Kamigawa is quite good. But we can throw that all out because we're playing Cube. And what a cube is a draft environment created from the ground up for drafting that is meant to elicit some sort of vibe. So maybe if you really enjoy a particular Magic set, you would build a cube in that set. Our most recent set is Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I could build a cube for my friends to draft that would be, pulled from a couple of different Ixalan sets and would feel like a greatest hits of that format. But a popular way to build your cube is to be sort of like a greatest hits of Magic, where you're basically pulling stuff from a billion different sets, and it's very technical because you have to basically read every card, or at least be somewhat familiar with what they do. And you're up against the table you're at the table up against people who also have played this cube before, are familiar with some of these cards. It's a very different environment than if you were playing in a pre-order or a pre-release or a draft or something by yourself. It is very skill testing, and if you get a chance to cube in person, I recommend it highly. It's like the best way to play Magic. You don't have to spend money after your cube is built, and you can swap in and stuff in and out when it doesn't work. You can have multiple cubes. This arena cube I've played a few times. This is the one we're going to check out today, and it is a sort of a greatest hits of the last 5-10 years, I'd say. It also includes a bunch of stuff that was never released in paper, so it might be new to me. And unlike a lot of the formats on Magic Arena, this is one that you have to draft with other people. So we're going to hop in, and I'm going to walk through this draft. Don't worry if it doesn't make a ton of sense. It is cube, but hopefully by playing this quickly and on the fly, I can walk you through some of the heuristics that you might want to consider when you're cubing to make things a lot easier. This cube is up on Arena right now if you want to give it a try. I'd highly recommend it. This is the best way to play Magic, in my opinion. Y'all can keep Commander. I'll take cube. So we're going to join this cube draft. It usually takes like 15-20 seconds for one of these to fire. It's not very hard to get one going. Starman says, that means I will not understand the mechanics. I haven't played in about a decade. Yeah, I mean, I'm about in the same... I've played the entire decade and still don't remember the mechanics, but that we can still play on the fly. One thing you notice from opening this pack, we got 4 blue cards. That stands out to me quite a bit. That means we're going to be having some blue going around the table. Pact of Negation's very good. The rest can go away. Of all the cards I see here, I tend to put a very high value in cube on mana fixing. Being able to cast your cards is really important. And I tend to hew towards green color decks, X color decks, because of that. So I really like Paradise Druid in that situation. We're going to snag one of those. It's taps for any one color. It also has hexproof while it's untapped, so it's hard to get rid of. 2 big pluses in a format like this, where removal is plentiful and easy. This is a little harder. We have not been rewarded by picking green. We've got 1 green card, and it's cute, but fine. Hydroid Krasis is a great card, but a very strong pick to move into 2 colors this early. I'm going to go ahead and go with this colorless Planeswalker. It's playable on almost any deck because it's colorless, and unless you're super aggressive, it'll probably do what you need it to do. I actually like it in aggressive artifact decks too, but those are very hard to draft. People value those colorless artifacts high. It's going to be a very laid-back stream tonight, folks. I'm very sleepy. Sorry about that. Alright, next up we have... Well, we're not rewarded for going green again. That's clear. And the blue is standing out. We've got multiple blue cards. Some of them are even okay. 3 picks in. The best card in this deck is, or in this pack, is probably Ophiomancer. But I'm going to take a left to center pick here. I'm going to grab one of these dual lands, preferably the Sanctum here. When you're not sure what to pick in Cube, grabbing duals is a good idea because it allows you to stay flexible with your future picks. I'm not committing to a sole blue-green deck, but maybe I'm going to include that Sanctum in a deck where I'm splashing blue, or where I might just be splashing green for some reason. Alright, this is becoming a little easier. The blue is dried up a bit. Neutralize is not worth picking this early. The best card in the pack is probably Searing Blood or Touch the Spirit Realm. I don't think we're in a place to be wanting any of that, so I'm going to take this Avacyn's Pilgrim, which is just cheap mana ramp. D. Martin G says, what is Cube versus 8 players? So we'll be drafting against 7 other players, and Cube is sort of like the greatest hits of Magic in one draft format. So it's a bunch of different Magic sets all kind of smushed together into one draft. And you end up with some pretty wacky stuff going on. Hello, Rectulus. I'm sorry you are up past your bedtime. I hope you sleep easy tonight, friend. Alright, so we're cooking here. We've got a lot of mana ramp. That's not bad. This kind of card Uro does reward us playing mana ramp, but it's not really a finisher. And to be honest, I don't love a lot of these cards. Stonecoil Serpent's fine, but I think we might actually wheel it. I'm going to grab this Cold Steel Heart. Mana rocks or artifacts that tap for mana generally are not good if they cost more than 2, but Cold Steel Heart does for 2, and you can pick a color when you rock with it, so I think it's a good pick here. We're kind of, unless we're running ramp and that's just exclusively mana, we have a lot of mana stuff going on. I'm going to take this Settle the Wilds because it does fetch a card. We'll see if that's any good. Right now we have a lot of do-nothing green stuff, and that's not a bad thing. That's a place where I like to be. That means our future picks can be kind of flexible. But it does mean that we need to get some gas here pretty soon. We need to get something going. We need to have a board presence, because right now this deck's getting run over. Like, it's fun to play a bunch of creatures that tap for mana. It's not great for wanting to stay alive. Alright, we have an interesting pick here. We could move into red. Both of those green-red cards are very strong. There's another land too. Hinterland Harbor is solid, but not as good as the Sanctum. I think I'm going to go for Halana and Elena because there's a possibility we end up in red, but also they're gay. That's a win. Alright, what do we have here to rock with? Okay, we might actually end up in a very, very solid green-red ramp big dumb monsters deck, and I'm fine by that. Dragon Master Outcast is great in that kind of deck. It's great in a ramp deck because you can hit its condition faster. I'm feeling good about this all of a sudden. We need land. We need colorful lands to help, but you know, we're starting somewhere and building from there. Alright. Well, we've got either a dual land in one of our possible colors or a solid 3-drop. We'll take the solid 3-drop. Who knows if we're going to run it? I think this card's actually kind of fine. Getting a clue is... It's not nothing, but it's not a place you want to be dumping a ton of mana in this format unless you have a ton of mana to dump. Here, let's rock with the C double. We don't know if we're in red yet, but we can keep our options open and possibly go for blue if it does end up opening up. I don't think it will, though, because we saw a lot of blue come through in this first pack, and that generally means that people are going to commit early. But we'll wait and see. It'll take us a couple of picks to read those signals anyway. But you'll notice not a ton of these blue cards are coming back. Here's the first one. That's like really good as Surgical Metamorph. We'll take that. There's no guarantee we're going to play something like that, but if you're in a deck with a lot of dumb things going on, it's a pretty decent combo piece. Sea Double is fine. Double blue is not good for us. We don't need to be there yet. Alright, now we're just going to start clicking on stuff. Neutralize is fine. Not gonna play ton, you know. Jaime says that the crossover sets in this game, I'm not sure if they are or not, frankly. Like, I'm sure there could be cards from, like, Lord of the Rings or something in here, but I have not seen them yet. And Starman is talking about having an elf deck that's basically an elf ball, where you get a bunch of elves, then you tap elves, and they make big elf tokens, and yeah, it's those old, especially Onslaught era elf decks are extremely degenerate and very fun to play against. Alright, so, like, we're paid off for red, but not anything that I'm eager to pick early, actually. Whereas this is one of the better cards in the cube. These 1 mana tap guys, this Llanowar Elves, this Abyssin's Pilgrim. They don't look great, but having a turn 1 is... Having a turn 1 extra mana source really makes your deck go fast. It's, like, ridiculous how fast it goes. Here, Timeless Witness is fine, Pillar of Flame is fine. Miglos is great, but I think we can actually, like, maybe wheel it, let it come around the table. I like the Abbot of Carekeep quite a bit. Pillar of Flame is very good. It would require us to commit to red basically at this point, but we don't have removal, and it's time to get some. We need to get some creatures off the board. Pillar of Flame does a good job of doing that early for us. What do we have here? Royal Eruption. Pretty strong removal spell, but at sorcery speed. Explorer, more ramp. We don't really need that. A Braid, which is excellent in this format since it can just nuke a random artifact. And I think that'll actually end up... I think this will actually end up being our pick here, the Abrade. I like the flexibility of it. I like that it's instant speed, and I like that it's cheap. Utopia Sprawl, we can skip that. Looks like our green is really bad here. Mishra's Command is very mid. The Carnosaur is fine, but Discover is a very, like, win-lose mechanic. You either hit or you don't. So I'm just going to take this land, which we're probably going to play no matter what colors we end up in. What else do we have here? Lots of red dorks. So we've got a Kenros Spell Spear, which is fine. Or we have a Obliterating Bolt, which is great. We're going to take the bolt. We're going to start belting people. Right. Virtue of Courage. I do not know what this does. So the left half lets you get a burn spell at any time. And the second half lets you fast draw cards if you hit someone. I don't like that at all. I'll grab it. I don't know. I don't think I'm playing it, but I'll grab it. There's a lot of words on the right-hand side of that card, but 2 mana, 2 damage to anything is a card, and one I will happily play over and over again. In a deck like this, especially. Just going to move the blue stuff out. We can always put it back in if we decide to go 3-color. I'm not seeing a lot of reason to in this draft so far, but maybe the third pack will open up things a bit. What do we have? I think the only real pick here is the Inferno Titan. Maybe. This is like the worst Chandra ever. Like, it was great in the format it was in, but it does not do much in Cube. Whereas the Titan, at least, like, we can maybe ramp into it and get it out maybe a turn or 2 early and do some dirty stuff. We got a Cenote Scout. We got a big score. Or an Electrostatic Blast. I haven't played with this card, but I know what 2 damage to anything does, and it's good stuff. We have a bajillion 2 damage to anything cards at the moment. But that's one thing that's really nice about Cube as opposed to a lot of limited formats. There's room to build an aggressive deck and to, like, run other players over. And it's quite fun to do. Just grabbing the big green and red stuff when we see it now, because we have our mana intact. We have some mana dorks. We've got some burn. We're in a good position to survive the early game and probably get to the mid game a little earlier than our opponent. That's where green-red decks really come in and thrive, is in that mid game. If things get stretched out too late, we could be in trouble. We just don't have good finishers. There are blue and black and white cards that, you know, you get 8 mana, you win the game, basically. We don't have that right now. We've got some big dorks that throw some damage around. Starman says, is that what it was called, Elf Ball? Yes. Well, I mean, some people just call it Elves, and there is a Legacy Elves deck, Legacy being like a very broken, ugly format. Ooh, Miglos. Let's go, baby. That's actually kind of a win condition. We're going to take the burn. But yeah, Legacy Elves is another thing that deck is called. That deck is occasionally quite good. I'm not sure if it is in Legacy right now. It's kind of hard to find games of Legacy unless you are playing Magic Online, which is like an older, different program from Magic Arena, which is for like the real pervs. If you're a Magic the Gathering pervert, like you don't even have Arena installed. You're playing on Mitgo and I don't know, that one program where you just like play with your webcam. I don't know what it's called. We'll trim out the board here while we're waiting for our stuff to cycle through. Waiting quite a while for our stuff to cycle through. Alright. Tameo Safekeeping is playable. It's something I'm excited to play, but it can stay in for now. That's a whole lot of nothing. That's a whole lot of nothing. Alright, let's get this fresh pack, baby. What are we looking at? We need something good. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. So, lots of goodies in this pack. Questing Beast is really good. Goldspan Dragon is relatively efficient. Vivian Reed is fine. That ability to destroy artifacts and enchantments is really solid in this format. Kogla and Yadaro is cool, but something that we really can't afford to commit to this early. But Light Up the Stage and Cultivate are both incredibly good card advantage engines. And Cultivate is a personal favorite of mine in terms of what it does in draft, but also look at that artwork. Holy shit. You know what it is. Now let's see what else we have to work with. Okay, here again we're dealing with the expensive versus the cheap. Titan of Industry, Primeval Titan, Shivan Devastator are all solid picks here. I also really like Strangle. It's super efficient. We just have so much burn. And I actually like the flexibility of the Shivan Devastator. If we have a ton of mana late game, that can be a game ender. If not, it's a 3/3, it's a 4/4 when we need it, and that's fine. So we are getting paid off here. This is the best possible card you can have in a deck full of mana dorks like Llanowar Elves, guys tapping for mana. It gives all your creatures a bump based on the number of creatures you have. And I tell you what, ripping into this thing turn 6 or something is one of my favorite ways to end a game of Magic. What else do we have here? Nothing worth a shit. These are all pretty mid. Voracious Hydra looks fine, but it's not. This isn't good until you can kick it. The Flesh Gorger isn't worth playing unless you have black. I'll rock the Caravan. I know I said the 3 mana rocks are good. I might end up taking that out. But it is more than just a rock, too. Alright, what do we have here? Burn Down the House, Siege Gang Commander, Nissa Who Shakes the World. Oh my god, what a crazy lineup here. This is just for me. I wouldn't recommend doing this for strategy, but Siege Gang Commander happens to be one of my favorite cards. Also happens to be very old. I had to do it to him. You know I had to do it to him. You know we were playing all the tiny guys. Plus, look at the shoulder pads. Look at them pauldrons, folks. He's doing it up. Shout out to Kev Walker. Also does great comics. This deck is kind of silly. Like, I don't know how good it is, but we're going to be doing stuff on basically every turn of the game, and I do like that. I like our chances because of that. Gilded Goose is another one of those 1-mana drops where I think we have to prioritize it because we have Crater Hoof. Huntmaster is very exciting. I like this card a lot. I'm not going to take it here because I think 3 1-mana guys means we're pretty much guaranteed to draw one every game. I really like those odds. It means we can keep sketching our hands. It means that we can ramp into our stuff and get to the mid-game early. We have a lot of cheap burn, which means we could play the cheap burn and then also play like a cheap creature on the same turn and gain some board advantage. I like a lot of that stuff. What else do we have? These are all fine. I'm going to take the Sentinel of the Nameless City because I think the stats are good. Map tokens are 100% whatever. They're fine. They don't do much. So yeah, whatever. What else do we have? Foundry, Groundbreaker, Deeproot, Wayfinder. Deeproot Wayfinder is very good, but we don't have a way to get it to consistently connect with the other player, which would make it way, way better. So this might be one that gets taken out. I mean, look, you have to work hard to get the reward, whereas the Llanowar Elves just taps and does the thing. Here, what do we do? Vivian Reed's easier to cast. I think I'm just taking Light Up the Stage. I like what it does. I like that it draws us some cards. We're going to take this Titan. Now we've got 2 big green dumb things that we can ramp into, as well as a couple of X spells to give us some versatility. We're doing okay here, folks. We're going to see how well it goes. You know, like, all of this theorizing is only as valuable as how long I can play without getting my ass kicked. But we're going to try not to get our ass kicked tonight, folks. We're going to try. We're going to see how it goes. This turret chair makes a lot of noise. Alright, deck building time. So, the nice thing about keeping our side clean the entire time is that this part is pretty simple. We just cut down to 40. We don't have any reason to play fewer or less lands than usual. This is a pretty standard deck. We just need to cut 7 from it. So the first thing I'm going to do is look for cards that don't contribute to our end goal. Our end goal being a little ramp, a little mana, a little land out early, maybe some card advantage, into a big stinky green 9/9 or whatever. So first things first, we should cut the stuff that does not contribute to us getting to a stinky 9/9. In which case, that'll be things like Cultivator's Cavern, which is just not efficient enough. Virtue of Courage, which pulls us in a direction that our deck really can't follow. This is an interesting one. Do we keep Karn in? I don't think we do, actually. I like this card a lot, but we're not playing a slow deck, and therefore that money, or that mana, is probably spent on creatures. Better. Let's take out the Settle the Wilds. We don't need that if we have Cultivate. That should put us where we need to be. Let's rock. This is a vibe space thing. We're gonna be riding this out, but I think this should be okay. I hope. Sorry about my metal can, folks. Breedlove 89. What a name. Breedlove. Yikes. We got 3 lands, we got our 2 colors, so that one's not hard to think about. We can drop the Stone Cold Serpent. Stone Cold. The Stone Cold Serpent. We can drop it at any time, but I think it's best to run 3 or 4. Okay, that is an instant, so we can zap whatever they end up playing if they do end up putting a creature out. And they may be playing Draw Go, in which case we're going to have a long game here, folks. But that's okay. I think we do alright in a long game. I love playing these, like, blue control-y decks with a lot of counter spells, But that also means I know what I'm up against when I'm playing one, and like they can be played around. They're not invincible. So here's a good question. Got 3 mana up, clearly representing a counterspell. Do we take the bait? I think that we do, and we make him have it. Next turn we'll drop a Siege Gang Commander and make him have it again. You know, you only get so many counterspells, so sticking one good threat on the board really does change the complexion of a game quite a bit. He's going to counter it. They're going to counter it. I don't know why I'm gendering Breed Love 8. I know it. Well, I don't know. Starman says, I used to make up stories as I built decks around why the different cards were in there. That was a cool thing, yeah. I respect that. Kids with Magic cards do all that kind of shit all the time, and I think it's adorable. Okay, so you see they're representing 2 mana here. 2 mana on the blue is basically keyword for there's a good chance I could counter whatever you're going to play. But the thing against these decks that counterspell a lot, you have to make them have it. You have to force them to spend their resources where they can, because they don't have an infinite amount of them, and they will eventually run through all of their good counterspells, which is when you can actually drop the stuff you want to play. For instance, I've got 2 burn spells here. I'm not really threatened by anything that this guy's doing. One thing I could do is light up the stage and try to grab a few more cards. I think that's actually worth it here, even if we don't pull anything useful. Because we get the chance of getting a land. Oh, we get a whole lot of land, actually. And that's fine. That's fine. We pass the turn representing burn, and if we don't have to burn, we'll pop this clue and draw an extra card. Just get ourselves closer to where we need to be. Yawning. Sorry. Sorry, y'all. Shark Typhoon. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a XX blue shark creature token with flying. Let's blow up that stupid little robot thing he's got there. If he's gonna put out 1 card, he's gotta pay for another. Okay. Now's a good time to start drawing some cards. We're out of gas. That we did not get our ground game up early. That will not hurt. Seems silly, but we're working towards Craterhoof. Is that a Sharknado reference? Yes, it is. It's also very good for being a Sharknado reference. It's a great card. Okay. It's going to bounce our elf back to our hand, and then we can't play it next turn. Alright, that's fine. Oh, that's great. So you notice that the response from the other player was pretty much instantaneous. Where I put the Inferno Titan out, there was no response. Even though they're representing 4 mana, which is quite a bit. So I'm going to bet that they are out of counterspells, and at this point in time we're going to be fishing. Trying to draw cards, trying to get some sort of card advantage out on the board. Because until they start popping out sharks, they are still in a decent amount of danger. Realm Cloaked Giant. Quite a good card, actually. It doesn't fully stop us, but it gets pretty close. The fun thing about that, though, is we actually have enough to pop both a Llanowar Elf and the Craterhoof Behemoth this turn. And I think we should. I think we definitely should. This is going to be a mess. Let's go. 3 to the face already. Then they've got 8 and 9 coming at them, both to trample. I don't think they're going to block. Well, no, they have to, or else it's lethal. which means we're trading them for a 7/7. I like where we're at with that. Let's see them do something with it. Come on. Come on. A board wipe would be problematic for us. That's not great. Taking an extra turn and gaining a 5 is not great. Yeah, that's fine. Misclick? Was that a little misclick? Oh, I think we got misclicked a little bit. Uh-huh. Maybe not. Maybe their game plan was to not give us a giant token dork, but I'm not overly worried about that. Instead, let's just throw some burn around, because this is why we picked the burn in the first place. They are dead if they do not block, which means it's time for them to spend all their resources. Yeah. All we needed was a couple of big dum-dums, and we took that issue down. It wasn't even particularly close. It was going to be in 2 or 3 turns. Those flying sharks are no joke. But the nice thing about running a red-green deck like this is that it does tend to put the pressure on as soon as it drops something on the board. These are not do-nothing creatures. These are creatures that like to attack, or get attack bonuses, or trade well, or have trample, all of which are good for a more aggressive mid-range strategy. It's Gollum! Boo! You don't respect potatoes, my friend. Alright, there we go. This feels like a much better opening hand. First things first, turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim. That's a good position to be in. If they let it stand, and they shouldn't, but if they let it stand, we will get that Sentinel out, and we will start popping maps everywhere. Giver of Ruins. Is this like Mother of Ruins? Oh, that thing's gotta die. Oh, that thing's gotta die. Yeah, we'll put this. We'll put the big dork out first. But that thing cannot be allowed to stay on the board, or else it will be a problem. Can it protect itself? No. Okay, that's fine. It's not like Mom. There's an old card called Mother of Runes, which is very similar to this card and very difficult to play against. All right, so where are we at with this? Let's pop a map. We'll get the Sentinel. See if we can get him chunky. Do some inflation on this guy. Alright. Then we've got this Pillar of Flame. I think it's time to pull the plug on this this Giver of Ruins here. No thank you, ma'am. They gave the Thraben Inspector Pro green, which means if I attack, they can block with no cost. There's no sense in attacking, so we pass the turn. That's fine. It's going to eat the Sentinel. Bloop. And here's the thing, folks. It may not seem like the case, but you don't need to eat the Sentinel. You need to bolt the bird. You need to bolt the little tiny creature that is making, you know, these type of plays possible. Whee! Starman says, I feel like finding out someone's favorite MTG color tells you more about them than their astrology sign. It depends on how many women you're talking to, I think. Because I have been told things about my astrology sign. Oh my god. Oh my lord. But I don't know. There is like a favorite color thing. I think it's funny when people, I've had people try to guess my favorite color, and it's like, nah. I'm pretty standardly perverted. I like blue. I like running a nice mono blue deck. I like playing 24 counterspells main deck. Sorry. It's just something you can do in that game. You can't do in other games. It's kind of a fun, unique element of the game. But I like a good red deck too. I had someone guess green-white for me once, and it's like, I don't know about all that. Alright, so what have we ended up here? We got the... We can't really rock the Hulk on the ground, but this dragon is just going to do so much work for us. I was thinking you'd like blue. Yeah, I appreciate that. It is my thing, unfortunately. It's cool to have a game about violence where the most powerful faction is the non-violent faction. I just think that's neat. Now, in reality, it's a different type of violence, playing a control deck, but for whatever reason, it feels a little less painful. But look at that, just like this, we are 2-0, baby. Let's rock this. We're going to rock this cube all the way to the terminus. Whether that's losing 3 games, which would knock us out, or winning 7, which would get us a couple of prizes. I don't think the prize support's crazy, but it definitely lets you cube as much as you want. Well, we've got a cultivate and we've got a burn spell, and I'm not going to think anymore. This is not a thinking person's game. We see what they play, we bolt it. They're playing ramp. We're in trouble because their ramp is 1 turn faster than ours now. There we go. There's something we will happily burn to death. Get the hell out of here, brother. That card sucks. Sucks to have on the other side of the table. It just keeps getting bigger. Produces lots of value for the other player. You definitely don't want to be doing that. Now we're going to do it big style. We're going to play Cultivate. Which allows us to get 2 lands out of the deck, put 1 into play and 1 in our hand. Basically guaranteeing that we're going to be set up for success in the future with this ramp deck. We're definitely racing them at this point in time, so we need that. Alright, what we want to do is actually get something on the board. We're going to get the bird, and then we're going to get this pair of wonderful forest-based lesbians to throw some +1/+1 counters around. As we are apt to do. And we're just going to keep taking hits to the face until we can do something about it. But we do have... We're representing 7. Good old Inferno Titan. Boop. Gets to drop a 3 on anything when it comes into play. That'll get rid of that annoying little turd. And now by putting these counters on this Pilgrim, I can have the Pilgrim trade with the Questing Bees. And really do our best to, I don't know, keep them on their toes. Starman says I really always like opposite decks. Does that mean like colors that contrast with each other? Is that what opposite means in this context? Because that's definitely a thing. I love a blue-green deck. I love a blue-red deck. Black-white is super fun. Alright, so what are we going to do here? We are going to... suck our teeth, I guess. No. I think we know what we're doing here. We've got Miglos out here. He can destroy an artifact or an enchantment. Let's get rid of this thing before it becomes a problem. What else can we do? That's good enough for now. Let's make the Inferno Titan bigger. I don't think it's good to swing, but we also have pretty decent insurance in case they decide to swing, which is hitting back with a lot of damage. And if we get another green, this Titan of Industry will basically wrap the game up for us, I think. Oh, we're just playing the same exact deck. Okay, cool. Oh, he's cool. I can't be mad at him. Alright, so we got a Questing Beast coming through. Swinging for 6? Really? Really? Yeah, I think we do trade, actually. We trade for a lot of reasons, mostly because the questing beasts can get very, very annoying late game. It's hard to block with smaller creatures. So if you need to find chump blockers, you're fucked. Hey, well, I think we're in good shape. We need to get some health, so let's gain some health. And let's put a shield token on my boy. So this Titan of Industry is great because it's very flexible. It can block flyers. It's capable of gaining you some life back or creating a creature token if you need more dudes. It's just a really great all-around card. It's very difficult to pick, but I do feel like it's one of those green cards that has a lot of potential for finishing up a game, even in a format like Cube where, you know, every deck is going to have scary stuff. Yeah, okay. Starman's opposite decks are very correct. I fuck with black-white and I fuck with red-blue quite a bit. Not hip to y'all's lingo, I'm old. Well, hey, I'm old too. I started playing this game in 1994. I'm so fucking old. But, not 94, 95. That's what it was. But yeah, it's, I'm elderly. It's cool. Alrighty, so I think we're going to light up the stage here, try to get some more cards in hand. You know, it's not great, but at least it's better than what we were doing with our time. We're just going to make Miglos into Biglos here. And they do not have any Death Touch, so we'll be in a trading position. Starman says you're only as old as you feel. That's terrible news. I feel very old. Just kidding. I'm okay with aging. Aging's fine. Like, if you wake up every morning, like, that ain't half bad. It all just gets better from there. Holy shit. My man just burnt us out. Ooh. Ooh. I respect the steez. Alright, we gotta win that one back. That felt pretty damn bad, I gotta say. I'm gonna go and take a brief, like, 30-second break to refill this shit with water. Whee! I'll be right back. And we are back. Howdy. D. Martin G says, so how'd you get D&D players with Tinder? Buddy, I have no clue. Is that a thing you can do? Can you Tinder for friendship? Oh, okay, that's a question to Starman. Tinder for friendship sounds terrible. I mean, maybe if it works, but the idea of creating a profile where you're like, I'm quiet. I like to play Magic the Gathering sometimes when I'm sad. I don't know. I don't know if that would work. I'll tell you what is nice for meeting gamer people, though, is actually like having a local scene, which does really make a difference. A little bit too serious for, I think, the question at hand, but whatever. I'm nothing if not sincere and stupid. You might have noticed they only dropped 2 lands. There's their third. Green and white playing the Visionary is interesting. I would expect a tokens deck here. Which means they're either getting off to a slow start or I'm wrong. Which happens. One thing I have been saying, and I will say over and over again, if this thing taps for mana, kill it. Simple as that. Get it off the board. This cheap burn does not work on big threats, and it really cuts them off from developing their board, which is what you don't want them to do. Best possible thing they could play here is like a do nothing for mana enchantment. That's about as close as you can get to doing nothing. Yeah, that ain't gonna cut it. Okay. So another reason why I really like this Gear Hulk here, other than just being a 4/4, it turns stuff into bigger creatures. So your little like 1/1, 2/1 dorks that are down here tapping for mana are all of a sudden threats with haste, and that's an exciting proposition in a deck like this where you really want to keep them on the defensive and on their back feet, so that you can not worry about the late game. You can just keep swinging and swinging and swinging. Starman says, I had no pictures of myself, only dice and D&D stuff. The profile was a joke to open, an invitation to message me about the group. That's genius, actually. That's very, very smart. Did it actually lead to a good group? I'm very curious now. Let me say, I'm happy to be wrong. If Tinder for Friends works, I am super happy to be wrong. Alright, so they just put out a big Tusky Man. That's an annoying card to see across the table for sure. The question is, what do we do about it? Anything that we play is going to trade with. Well, no. If we create a hoof, we'll get a good swing. So let's just do that. We'll get a good swing. And that'll get the damage through. I think they'll block with the Thrag Tusk, which will then turn into a 3/3, which we can abrade. Okay, I'm feeling good about this. Because we're not losing anything here. We're not going to lose the Hulk or the Behemoth. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Suddenly, everything on my board is an issue. And if they're not putting down something to be defensive, they're in trouble. That ain't going to do it. That really is not going to do it. That's fine. Alright, so abrade randomly lets you destroy an artifact. That's a fun thing to do here. And now we're in a position where they've got a block, but we're not losing anything if they do. Then we pop the Cold Steel Heart out just for fun, and then pop the Clue and draw a card. I mean, I think we've got them next turn. This Pillar of Flame does go to the face if we need it to. But we'll see. They could pull out a Wrath or something silly, and we'd be in trouble. There's always an out, you know, and they are playing white. That ain't gonna do it, brother. Alright, they untapped one land, which tells me that they are going to have the ability to kill something as it swings to attack. They can kill one, block another. We are not in a good place. On the other hand, if we swing with everything, keep the pressure up, then we can Pillar of Flame the Vorinclex, and suddenly we're back in the same position where we are threatening them. Or they're just dead. Or they just die big style. Okay, yeah, baby, let's do this. We're kind of rocking and rolling. I'd never draft this sort of like red green generic good stuff deck in Cube because there's always like lots of wacky stuff to do. But it turns out that just like putting out 3/3s and 4/4s works, especially when everyone else is busy trying to do cool shit. Here's a 3/3. It prevents you from enjoying your cool shit. Pay attention to it, and that's a fun dynamic in the format. I do think that a limited format needs a few super aggressive decks in order to kind of keep it fair. Do we play this? Oh, this is a very difficult mulligan. I think we actually do because we have the Serpent and because we have Light Up the Stage. If we manage to proc a Spectacle trigger, we'll be fine. Yeah, we need to get this down early. And if we can do Light Up the Stage next turn, that will be good for us. We need to just like peel a green land, and we're basically on the road to riches. Ooh, these card backs. Look at this fancy pants over here. Okay, so that's actually gonna... That's good and bad for us. So, like, we can swing with this and we can bluff. Will you block this? They usually won't. It's kind of a bad move to do so if I have mana up. But we're not actually going to threaten it this turn. We're going to pop this guy out, have some mana next turn. Light Up the Stage is basically good the entire game. It draws you 2 cards, but you have to play them that turn at the cost of 3 normally, or 1 mana if you've dealt damage. See, I like this. I don't think this player is going to risk having this type of mana base by blocking. And that means we're in a good position to potentially draw some more cards. There's our own Llanowar Elf. We like that. We like that, folks. So let's swing. Might seem silly, but like we've got land, we've got creatures, I've got a backup Llanowar Elf if I need one. If we trade with their 1/1, I'm totally fine with that. That's totally cool with me. Let's get this Sentinel of the Nameless City out, and suddenly we have like a creature on board that does stuff, that blocks, that represents a threat if it keeps attacking. I know I said the map tokens earlier were like whatever, and I still stand by that. If you have stuff in your hand, you should almost always be doing that as opposed to dinking around with maps. But creating a map every turn is like not a small advantage. If you get 2 or 3 map token triggers out of it, you're in an okay position. Especially for us, because like we actually don't mind drawing lands when we're using map tokens. Oh my gosh, really? You wasted hard removal on that. Oh boy, okay. Well, now's the time to light up the stage and see what we pull. Oh yeah, we're gonna actually do both of these. My man Miglos is out here doing things. D. Martin G says, I've always sucked at deck building. This is pretty fun to watch. Thank you. And I also suck at deck building, which is why I really prefer this format as to like a format where you have 10 million cards to look through. I can't keep them all straight. At least here, they're just in front of me. I'm forced to learn about them. Now would be a good time to explore, I think. I don't know about all that. Should we kill the bird? I don't think we actually do. I don't think we need to. If they spend their turn making food tokens with its second ability, we're fine with that. What we're afraid of is them building the board up. I feel like Obliterating Bolt is one of our higher damage burn spells. We should probably save it for whatever threat might get plopped on the board. Like that awful fucking thing. Get out of here. Oh, I hate that card. Thankfully, it can get O-bolted. Peace out, brother. Whoosh. They mix rats every turn, and we really do not want to be in that position. Here's this Dragon Master Outcast. We get one more land on the board. This thing is a game ender. It's super vulnerable to removal, but they have 2 cards in hand. They would need to draw it at this point in time, I think. Is that a Skeksis? I don't think so. It's just like a little guy. He's eating a berry. Ew, Token City. Okay. All right, we can't get aggressive as we used to be. That's all right. Also, I must add, because we haven't seen anything about it yet, but green land, black land, blue-white duels? What's going on here? Thankfully. Honestly, I did not have, like, high expectations for the Inferno Titan, but it's killed something every time I've played it, and stayed on the board and stayed relevant. Maybe underrated star here. Like, maybe kind of a halfway decent cube card, because it has that ETB ability. The Titans, when they came out, were a very, like, format warping set of mythics, and the Inferno Titan was never one of the good ones. So it's not a great card, but it's unique because it has a big body, it has a splashy effect when it comes into play, and more important than anything, it can just end games. Super easy to end games with, especially against, little token decks. So what do we do here? Molt Impact. 4 damage to start creature player of excess damage. Okay, so we will do we will burn the cat. Burn the cat. And the reason why we burn the cat is so that we can swing. We actually want to, like, just... I know these creatures look very dinky, because they are. They're very dinky. We need every little bit of damage that we can pull out of them. Because their side of the board is super empty, but one big drop could ruin us. And we are at that mana range. They're at 6 or 7. That's where we have to start being careful about how we, like, spend our time. You know, and if we do end up in Crater Behemoth territory, I think we just win the game. But we're at least 2 turns off from that, I think. And that's 2 turns where they can draw something that wins them the game. But if they spend their mana making food tokens, which just gain you 3 life when you sack them, like, I feel comfortable about what your game plan is, because I think you're just kind of stretching time out at that point in time. That's scary. That's the exact kind of thing we did not want to see. That thing's going to start making huge creatures that we cannot deal with. God, fuck. Alright. Alright, so we'll start making dragons next turn. We're still in a really bad position here. Like, 2 8/8s on the board is 2 8/8s on the board. We can't outsmart that. This Nissa does have an ultimate that they can proc in order to just cut our throats. And we're really not in a position where we can afford to attack either, because we need a chump blocker for these big 8/8s. Things were great, now they're not. It's so back, it's so over. Playing 2 rounds of disc golf is, like, incompatible with staying up late at night. I am a sleepy bird. Jesus. that lethal? That is lethal. Shit. Well, our only hope at this point in time is a Crater Hoof Behemoth. Which means we have to. It still doesn't win us the game, though. Ew. We're kind of taking our licks on this one. That's not going to do it. Ooh, we're getting humbled. We are getting humbled out here. We are eating humble pie. Poohhead Jr. Don't call me Poohhead. That's my father's name. Why did I keep this hand? This is so bad. Oh, okay. Alright. We're doing it. For Cube, is there a minimum amount of games you play? So, MTG Arena tournaments almost always go with like a you lose 3 games, then you're out model. Whereas IRL, you know, most Cube games are like not formally sanctioned tournaments, so the rules on them are pretty lax. Oh, that's annoying. It just like it allows them to pull a card from your hand and make it cost 2 more, which is like very annoying at the beginning of the game. What do we do? We just play the expensive burn card on the flyer, I think. Like, the fact that it makes stuff is more annoying, or costs more, is annoying, don't get me wrong, but it's a 3-1 flyer. That's just annoying on its own. And we are, like, not quite at the point where we can start popping off, so we need whatever advantages we can scrape out here. Do we play Light Up the Stage? I don't think we do. I don't think... Yeah, I don't think we do because we got a land drop this turn, and that's like the big advantage of playing Light Up the Stage at this point in time, is getting closer to the Titan, which we are like a turn away from. Make our lives much easier if it doesn't get countered. Alright, so I kind of talked about counter spells and playing around them earlier. That board across that I'm looking at, 2 islands and a dual land with a white in it, that screams counterspell to me. We're just going to play Light Up the Stage, and we're going to play a land if we end up with one. Either way, if they're leaving their hand up, if they're leaving their play up for the turn and they don't end up doing anything, that's a win for us. I have a feeling this is going to get countered. We'll see. No! Okay. Cool. We'll do some to the face here. We're doing that for the second ability, which allows us to draw some cards. We got clicked up! No! Oh, no! I didn't see that coming. Vendilion Clique's one of the best Magic cards ever made. Very well designed, very sharp, very hard and challenging to play against. It's a 3/1 flyer, and when it hits the board, you can look at any player's hand and replace one card from their hand with a card from the top of their deck. It's very, very difficult to play against in a control matchup because they can just pluck your control magic out of your hand. But it's also quite difficult to play against as a defensive creature because you can use that ability on yourself and like cycle something away that you otherwise may not use. So now that we have that like little crest that says we get to draw a card, we'll just burn this Clique away, see how it goes. Ooh! We drew some gas, folks. You know what it's gotta be. It's gotta be my man. This is gonna get countered, I think. If we keep these tokens on the board, he's dead next turn. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Blow that Werefox all over the place. That's a good sign, folks. That is a very, very good sign. Because if they are animating their lands and swinging for 2, and they know we have a Crater Hoof in hand, and they're tapping out, yeah, that's just not very good for them. Bloop. You got hoofed, folks. You got stepped on. Sorry, Poophead Jr. Give your father my regards. We got a ladder to climb, folks, and we're stepping on Poophead. Oh yeah, that's a good hand even. Turn 1 bird. Another bird? More birds? Look at all this. Look at all this. That's ridiculous. What's your turn 2? You got a 2/3? That's cute, bro. That's very cute. That's not what me and the boys are up to. We're swinging for 4 in the air, baby, on turn 3. Yawning. I'm not going to risk swinging to any of the 1/1s. I've got a plan. That plan is dragon. Let's stick to it. I am not worried about a Deep Root Wayfinder. That is fine. I would expect the deck like that to get a bunch of land anyway. Dragon is almost always a good plan, just ask Sato Kaiba. Is that a Yu-Gi-Oh reference? Because I don't know what that is. Sounds Yu-Gi-Oh-ish. Kaiba, is that a thing that people... That's like a name? It's like, the big hair guy yells at another... At Banks man, maybe? Is the Banks guy Kaiba? Oh yeah, we got the counters lesbians out, and they are buffing up these birds. Let's go. It's my Yu-Gi-Oh reference. He's my husband. Well, congratulations on being married to Kaiba Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, this fucking guy. No way, dude. Oh, I don't like that. That sucks. Just gonna have to do it. I mean, like, the dragon will die due to rules stuff, but you just really want to make sure that board stays nice and clean, even though we have no cards in hand and will not be doing shit. That's okay. Jaime says, all I know about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the Shadow Realm was actually death and some jerk with a Brooklyn accent likes dragons or something. It is very funny that a guy in that show had a Brooklyn accent. Like I'm pretty sure guys in Brooklyn aren't out there summoning dragons like that, but I've been around before. I mean, I'm not a big city girl. Alright, so we're going to start making dragons now, but I don't know. I don't know if that's great. We'll see. Got the flyers coming in, though. We got air support. We got your dead next turn support. Starman's phrase, I know more about Yu-Gi-Oh! Than I do the world we live in, is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. The world we live in? My friend, you are fucking dead next turn. You will not survive the winter. You will get cold. Yeah, we're getting the Deep Starman lore today, which I think is great. We need people whose, like, lens of reality and locus, like, goes beyond. We're doing it, and we're winning it by one turn. You know what it is. I don't know why I did Jadakiss laugh there, but it will tell you something about me. That's like a natural way of how I deal with feelings. Just to make Jadakiss noises. Duel Monsters was originally a parody of Magic the Gathering, and the manga wasn't about card games, but all games. Take that, Wingspan. Yeah, I respect anyone who transforms Tinder into a tool for good. You know, D&D recruitment tool is respectful. I remember I downloaded Tinder once, and someone messaged me, and it was like in the middle of the night, and I typed back like I'm tired, and then deleted the app. kind of in a half-awake haze. In the manga, Yamayuki actually kills a few people. Why? Why is shit that deep? Aren't they playing real card games in real life with cards? Or the dragon's real? I'm upset about this premise. Just in general. That's fucked. What does this thing do? That's pretty annoying. Is it burnable, though? It's not really a burnable offense, especially when we need to be building our guys up. Let's get these counters. Lesbians out to help. We need their help. They're friends. They're having a good time. They're getting counterspelled. Egyptian style. And the sort of like the game state like this is exactly why I do like having a mid-range deck. Like, we are hitting for 4 and 6. They're really not on board yet. That's a good place for us to be. Sometimes you just win games like this if your opponent can't stabilize in time. Oh, boy. Okay. Alright. Well, since they aren't dropping land, I need to kill this goose. That'll cut them off their 4th mana source. Also has the added effect of making them, spend any 4 mana spells they have now in response, which they're not going to do. Then we'll drop a Cold Steel Heart. We get a little more mana. I mean, we don't need it, but what if if we draw a Crater Hoof or something like that, we'll be in good position. Then we're gonna go banging in with Miglos over here. To be fair, the original premise was a shy, bullied boy who likes puzzles and game solves the Millennia Puzzle, gaining the power of an evil spirit who sought to punish the wicked by beating them in games of skill and chance. Bro, I don't want to criticize the way that you run your world, but beating someone in a game of chance or skill is not particularly evil. That's like going to your uncle's poker night. That's not scary. Alright. Last game in this tournament. I want you to take a look at that record. We are going 6-2 right now. If we get up to 7, that's as good as we can do, and I will call this cube draft a success and then fall asleep in my fucking chair. But there is no way I'm backing out at this point in time. It's all or nothing. We need that 7. Let's go, baby. D. Martin G says, I'm thinking that setting the person on fire is the evil part. I mean, it's not good. I don't know the guy that was lit on fire, though. I'm not saying I would want to do that to somebody, but there would be people in the world where if that happened to them, it might be funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. There's definitely nothing that Yu-Gi-Oh! Yuji should be doing that justifies cutting throats. Like, bro, it's a card game. Get some land out. The guy who was lit on fire was a criminal holding up Yuji's friends hostage with a gun. But we don't know why he's in that position in the first place. Maybe his life is bad. In which case, maybe I would also shoot the Yu-Gi-Oh man. Who knows? No, I probably wouldn't do that. He seems to be a sweet boy. But my point stands. This Stone Coil Serpent has been an A+ all-star for us in this game. We played it for 1, we played it for 2. This, like, 4-drop is going to be a very comfortable position for us. Not bad, little dude. Oh, Big Snake Tiny Boyfriend. Oh god, I don't like that card. Workshop War Chief. Draw some life. Draws you a spell, makes a 4/4. We could live without that. But we won't. Instead, we're going to play these lesbians again. We're going to get this Stone Coil Serpent pretty fucking high. Oh, wait, I can't put any of the counters on it because it has protection from multicolor. Oh, okay, that stinks. We need a new game plan. Some of the punishments are pretty wild. He makes one guy lose his vision, drives another person insane so he thinks trash is money, and then straight up shatters people's minds. Did that to Kai Bennett. It took him months to put his psyche back together. Drives another person insane so he thinks trash is money is like something that happens to several uncles in the Midwest, and it could happen to your uncle. Don't let it happen to you. Hey, Catboy, leave it alone, dude. Yeah, you don't need to be chewing a USB-C cable. In fact, you don't need to be chewing any cables at all. None. Zero. Zip. Zilch. Nada. Yeah, don't you yell at me, bro. Come here. I know who you are. I know what you've been up to. I know your sins. They're pretty bad, dude. Pretty bad sins. That is our cat, Jacob. I don't know if he's on screen. I don't think he is, but he is being a real guy right now. He's being a real little guy. He's definitely testing the limits of the patience in the household. Well, that's pretty good, right? Like, we'll rock a Paradise Druid. Then you still save Molten Impact. Like, killing the War Chief's only going to give him a 4/4. We're still swinging with this dragon either way. D-Martin-G says, I hear a kitty, then threw up a Doug, and then threw up a cat. Oh, Lord, what is this world turn into? We have 2 cats in the house here, Jacob and Penny. They are the babies. They get all of the attention in the world. The entire house is oriented around their happiness. Yeah, that's about it. That's about all there is. Well, that 8/8 Vorinclex is not good for us. We need a Titan of Industry stat. Swinging with the 8/8. Okay, that's interesting. So, oh, it's a sorcery. We really cannot afford to do that then. We're going to take 8 to the face. Let's go. That is a fun draw. Now we've got an 8/8 of our own, and ours flies. And also, this thing is no longer an issue. There's a storyline that involves a D&D parody where an evil spirit takes control of someone's body and destroys his soul, and then they manage to banish the evil spirit and put the copy of the original person's soul back into the body. Ouch, that sounds painful. Please don't do that to my soul, folks. I'm innocent. I did not mean it. Storm the Festival's very good. It gets them 2 free permanents. It's kind of random, so we'll see what they are, but they're probably going to be pretty decent. There's like, in draft, there's a lot of decent to good cards and very few excellent cards. Oh, great. It's a lot of shit. What an ignominious defeat if we go out like this. Like, we deserve better than that. Whew! Well, I'm just dead. I'm just diggity diggity dead. Big style. R.I.P. to me. The realest to ever do it. I did go 6-3, but in a way I went 7-2 in our hearts. And yeah, sometimes you just gotta let them have it, see the big numbers, you know. It feels pretty good. But 6 games is still very good. We're going to see what we got for our prizes, and we'll open our packs. Oh, we don't get the packs because it's cube. We just get currency. Peregrine Took is cool. Alright. Well, it's getting late, and I have to get up early in the morning, actually, to go do some medical procedure stuff. So, I would like to say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for coming out. I know it was a quiet stream, but you know, that's not always a bad thing. And I appreciate the chance to just chill, talk stuff, and get to see all your all smiling faces out there. So we will stop in again next week. Maybe I'll have Bachman. I think I'll have Bachman. But who knows? Who knows? It's a Game Crime stream, baby. We could give you 2 hours of technical problems, and you'd still be feeling it somehow. Either way, thanks a lot, y'all. Take care. Peace.